Hi, everyone. It's Henry DeVries. Welcome to Agency Rainmaker TV. This is where we teach you how to make it rain, how to find right fit clients. And I'm so pleased to have with me today John St. James. John, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Henry. Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Well, it's our honor. Well, please tell the audience about your who. Who is it that you're trying to attract?
So I have a very interesting niche. I oversee an international martial arts organization, and we actually have clients or schools in Australia, Nepal, the UK, Canada, throughout the United States. And so my clients really are small business owners, they're entrepreneurs. They run martial arts schools, but they do it many of them do it part-time, to be totally honest. I have some full-time school owners, which is my bread and butter, but I have quite a few hobbyists. These are people that are doctors, lawyers. Gosh, we have pharmacists, teachers, police officers, you name it, we have them. And they love the martial arts. So what they've started their schools and they do it as an avocation or hobby.
I'd like to dive deeper into this idea of martial arts and as a school. And I mean, they're teaching more than, I would say, self-defense, right? What is really the attitude that they're teaching?
Well, that's a great question. So we have the system that I'm teaching for any of those folks that are out there that ever took karate. It's a system it's the same system Chuck Norris got his black belt in, and in fact, we got our black belts from the same instructor. And the only difference is Chuck Norris is about 20 years older than me. But having said that, we teach what are called the five pillars of Mudo, and Mudo is the martial way. And so, what are the five pillars? Are the history, the tradition, the culture, the philosophy of the martial arts, and then what everybody thinks of, which is the technique. And so the technique is the physical exercise, the physical movements of self-defense. And so, we teach, gosh, our range of students go from 4 years of age all the way up to 70, actually 75. I've got a Catholic nun who's 75, who is a fifth degree master, senior master in our organization. So we run the gamut, but I work almost exclusively with the school owners, and many of those are master instructors. They've been teaching for a minimum of 12 to 15 years, and many of them 25 to 30 years.
Okay, the black belt nun, that could be a movie there. Thanks for that idea.
We call
Um,
her the Flying Nun.
the well, and I
Roll
thought
it
they
up.
were bad with the rulers. Now that you've given them technique, I'm even more worried. Okay, well, let's leave the nuns with the rulers behind and talk about what you teach these business owners. So, how do you help these business owners?
That's a great question again. So, basically, our goal is to help every school owner grow their program to the point where they can make a decision. Either they want to do it full time if they're going part time, or if they're full time, they can afford to develop a great staff and afford to pay that staff. And of course, a lot of our folks, and like almost every industry everywhere, they have three major pain points. The first one is they're looking for more students. The second one is they want to retain those students longer. And then the third one is they want to increase customer spend. They want to make more money. So I work with the school owners on what I call in my book, The Master's Path. It's called the Success Cycle. And the acronym for that is CASH, their knowledge, their attitude, and attitude, I need to explain just a little bit more, but their skill sets and their habits. So, the knowledge just comes through years of experience, but also through mentoring and coaching, and I help them with that. The attitude really comes down to awareness. I think you would agree that anybody that's successful is aware, and not only self-aware, but situationally aware, and in our case, in the martial arts, has heightened awareness. And heightened awareness, by the way, the way I explain that is seeing or sight is what we do with our eyes. But insight comes from the mind. And so heightened awareness is insight and intuition. So we work on that, help them kind of figure out where they are, where they want to go, and why do they want to go there. So that works on awareness and attitude. And then the skill sets for the school owners, I work primarily with them on leadership skills, and I help them to develop leadership academies. So for just a moment, I'll explain that if you'd like. And then the habits, as you know, habits make or break us. And I do work with a lot of people, even though they're phenomenal martial artists. They're really great physically at what they do. Like all humans, they hold themselves back. Some of it is scarcity mentality. A lot of it is just transforming mindset. So we actually have a program for that. It's called T3P, and that means transformation to total practitioner. And what that means is, you're not just mastering the art, but you're mastering, to the best of your ability, living. So we have a whole program on that. It's kind of outlined again in the book. But what I do with the school owners is we work with a value ladder. We look at, what are you doing in your school? And they all have a basic program. Everybody has the basic program. But very, very few actually have a leadership academy. They don't have a leadership program. So we help them to implement a leadership program. And that is where they find their bench strength. That's where they build their team. So from the leadership portion, the program, they start to see, okay, the cream rises to the top. Which students are gregarious? Which candidates rather for instructor have the entrepreneurial mindset or spirit? And those folks are then will eventually move up into the instructor training program. So we have a certified instructor training program that's available to all of our school owners. And I worked on that for years and years and years. And what I've come to find, of course, is the best instructors are usually the instructors that can not only teach the art, but most importantly, can articulate what we call the values and the benefits, the V's and the B's. So long story short, it's from that group, from the instructor core, where I select future school owners.
John, that's great. One of my mentors said to me, and said it was a proverb, that a teacher is not measured by the number of students they teach, but by the number of teachers they produce. And you're certainly living that. I also wanted to, for our audience who tend to be agency owners and B2B strategic consultants, to take some lessons away from you. One is you went for a what we call a super niche, or a super tight niche you went for.
Yes.
That's one lesson. It makes your life easier. More people are interested in John because he niched down than if he went broad. The second thing was his cornerstone content is captured in a book, gains a lot of credibility from the book, and then he reaches people through speaking and podcasts like this and TV shows talking about the book. The book gives him the credibility to have more impact and influence. So I might have been leading the witness there. Leading to the third question is the how. How do you make it rain in your world? How do you find right fit clients, John?
So this goes back to what I was just saying a little bit earlier. I look for, and so I will say right up front, I don't spend a whole lot of money on marketing. We have social media pages, and I also see a nonprofit organization that provides free martial arts to at-risk kids and to adults. But the reason I mention this is from the instructor training program, I'm watching to see which ones have leadership skills. Which are the doers, right? So that's where the rubber meets the road. There's a lot of people who say they're going to do something, but who are the people that are the movers and the shakers that are making an impact? And it always comes down to communication skills. Just to be, brutally honest, the ones that can articulate the message, the ones that are not afraid to share their story, the ones that are passionate about it, these are the ones that I start to mentor to get them ready to either open a school or grow a school. Having said that, you said something I thought was really very interesting and spot on. And that is, when we look at most people in any industry, if you're leading a group, what's the old saying? 80% of leaders attract followers. And I believe that. 15% of leaders attract leaders, but only 5% of leaders can reproduce leaders. And so our whole system is about trying to find the person that has, the right fit, has the right fit mentality, the entrepreneurial spirit, that's not afraid of risk. They're not risk adverse. They're not afraid of somebody saying no. They're not afraid of that. And they step out of their comfort zone, because you have to do that. And so we work with them on how to do that. And then those are the ones that I focus in on to help build their programs. And obviously, if their schools are flourishing, our federation flourishes. So I only do well if my clients do well. So we're, and we're a family. I mean, a lot of my clients have been with me for 30 years. So it's not unusual, but because they're my students, I've been training for 50 years. I'm an old guy. And by the way, I just received my 9th degree black belt in July in Dallas, Texas. So I am considered at the top of my industry based on my experience. But most of the guys in my group have known me for 25, 30 years. So that trust factor is already there. So I can say to somebody, look, I love you and I want more of you, but there's certain things we need to do. If you really want to grow, if you want to succeed, I'm here to tell you there's a few things you're going to need to change. And I do it politely, and I encourage them every step of the way, but I'm working more on mindset than I work on anything. Because as you know, there's experts all over the place. I mean, it's not more information, it's more application. So I'm working on getting them to apply. If they would just sit down and meditate on what they already know and apply what they know, a lot of them would grow. But, here's what I know. I know that, to grow yourself, you have to know yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of them don't know their strengths. And I got to be honest with you. I was taught this not too long ago from some people very well, and they said, "Okay, give me your top 10 superpowers." And I was like, I had never defined it. And so when I started using that with my own clients, I was like, okay. So there's a lot of good things that we do, but it's primarily mindset. There is some business training, clearly. When I get off the phone with you, I've got clients in Canada and the UK that I'm helping them grow their leadership academy. So, that's more hardcore business training, but almost all of it's mindset training, because a lot of people hold themselves back, as you know.
You left so many clues there to success, some outright and some you just laid between the line. One of the clues I picked up was you are relentlessly helpful to people in your industry. You do not have to spend great sums of money to attract people to you when you're relentlessly helpful. So thank you for that. And thank you for all the lessons you shared with us today. That's all the time we have for today. Until the next time, make it rain.